What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, appreciate you tuning in. Listen to me talk about these workouts, break them down for y'all. If you find value in them, information in the description to support me. If you have any feedback, let me know. And we're going to talk about Friday, October 3rd. This will also repeat Wednesday, October 15th. We'll see endurance on the treads, strength on the rower, power on the weight floor, talk about the 2G, finish up with the 3G, and then wrap it on up. So on the key concepts for the 2G today, treads, every block, 3 builds, each one shorter and more aggressive. On the second block, base leads into a big all-out. On the rower, every row is just 20 strokes, but make them count with more power on the drive and control on the return. On the floor, today we train power in 2 ways. First, by loading up strength movements, and then going explosive. And second, with coach-led reactive drills to react to cues and move fast. You need benches out and dumbbells, and definitely make sure plenty of space as best as possible for that reactive drill stuff, and you'll see why. So on the treads today, 2 blocks. The first one is 16 minutes and 45 seconds, no walk recoveries, and we're going to see 3 builds, a 7-minute, 5.5, and a 4-minute and 15-second build. And the goal here is to maintain or increase the intensities each build. So if this is your first time listening to me talk about these workouts, one way I approach the builds is rather than use the parameters on the template, think about a simple addition onto the effort. So I usually tell power walkers, let's add between 1 to 3% every time we increase. Joggers and runners, like 0.3 to 0.5 or more on every increase. Okay, that way you don't have to overcomplicate it by giving these big ranges of parameters that you see on the template. Just, hey, whatever you're gonna add, just keep doing it. So if you add 0.3 every time, add 0.3, add 0.3, add 0.3. When we're looking to increase the intensity, well, now let's try to add 0.4, add 0.4, add 0.4. So you'll widen the gap between those different efforts, and of course, you're increasing how high or fast you eventually get. So for the first build, we're gonna start with a 2.5-minute base, 2 minute of a base push, 90-second push, 1 minute push all out. And then they go right back to base. So there is no walk. And this is why those adds, if they just keep it simple, it's a lot easier on you, because now the next build is the exact same thing, but everything is cut down by some time. So now build 2, 2 minute base, 90-second base push, 75 push, 45 push all out. And then the final build for 4 minutes and 15 seconds, 90 seconds at base, 75 base push, 1 minute push, 30-second push all out. So if they are on the more conservative end, and they will definitely be able to maintain it, if they start on a more aggressive build, it's going to be tough to maintain, right? Because once again, after that push all out, the recovery is shorter. It goes from 2 minutes to eventually 90 seconds. And then they're still right back to work as well. So we'll see that heart rate kind of trend up, come back down, trend up, come back down, trend up, and then they hit that 2-minute walk recovery. Plenty of time, which is good because they'll need it. And for the weight floor as well, because it's going to get a little complicated over there. Now, when we look at the second block of the treads, we're going to see 3 rounds. It starts with a base to ramp up into an all-out. The good news is the all-out gets shorter every round, so 30-second base, 1 minute all-out, 30 seconds to walk. But then they go into another base, so it's still 60 seconds of recovery, but of course it's only a 30-second walk, 30-second active recovery, but then we go into a 45-second all-out, hit that 30-second walk, and then 30 base, 30 all-out. And hopefully that's the best all-out for the day. Now, when it comes to the bikes and striders, when it comes to these builds, I do it the same way of, hey, let's add 1 or 2 gears every time. Or if anything, they could alternate. Like, hey, I'm going to add 1 gear for this first jump. The next one I'm going to add 2, then add 1, then add 2. Okay? That way the trend goes up with their watts. And then for the second block, start at base, and then 6 gears over base. Start at base, 6 gears over base, maybe higher RPM to generate more power. Or could they go 7 gears over base without sacrificing RPMs? Okay, weight floor. Block 1, just under 17 minutes here. Load and explode circuit. we're going to have a bench single arm chest press, 6 on each side, then a regular tempo 2-arm chest press, and then the alternating pivot uppercut with power. Movement we haven't seen in a long time, but you'll start with the dumbbells here. As they rotate, they're going to take that dumbbell from their chin just above their forehead right back down. So as I turn that way, I punch up. The idea is to rotate from the hips and the foot and drive off the opposite foot. So when I turn to my left, I'm rotating my right foot and I'm driving through the ball of my right foot to get that hip to rotate over and then explode that arm up. Full transparency, most people probably have never thrown a punch, let alone an uppercut. So you're going to see some weird stuff. But the idea is keep it low, keep it tight, keep on that core engaged. And if anything, they want the lats tight as well to minimize how high they go up, because it's about going up fast and explosive rather than going up for height. Okay. Then the next circuit is going to be alternating single leg deadlift. It's only 6 reps. So I would use like a moderate weight, really slow down, focus on balance. And then both feet are on the ground, regular deadlift for 6, and then the hip hinge swing. So hopefully after 12 hinged base movements with slow and controlled tempo, they could translate that into that power hip hinge swing. If people start to fatigue and you see rounding of the back, my go-to like alternative for the hip hinge swing is something called a goat belly swing or a tempo good morning. And essentially you just have that dumbbell in the crease of the hip right here. And then they'll do that good morning back and then drive up fast like a hip hinge swing. But it's keeping that weight close. It forces them to keep the upper back tall, neutral spine, and it prevents them from losing that tension and letting that weight drop away from them. So they have to keep it close, and it minimizes chances for them to get hurt. Goat belly swing or the bottoms up swing, something kind of founded with like kettlebell work. So that's where I learned it from. Anyways, the other option, of course, is from a regular deadlift going to a tempo deadlift, right? So 2 counts down, 1 explosive count up, probably lighter weight than what they did, or if they can maintain their weight from before, awesome. Then they'll head to the rower, 20 stroke row for distance, but strength focused, 22 to 24 strokes per minute. The math works out where that should take them 37 to 45 seconds. So if you got someone there for only 30, they were definitely not paying attention. Cool. Ideally for 20 strokes, we're going to see 200 to 250 plus on the distance. And make sure they pay attention to that because we want to emphasize that controlled return. The first row, if people want to improve, the first row have a slightly higher stroke rate because when they go back and they take their time and do with a lower stroke rate, that means there's more time between each stroke, which means there's more time for the fan to spin to collect distance. It's just simple physics. Anyways, 2-minute recovery, because then you're going to get them set up for this coach reactive situation. Now, this is timed up with the treads. So round 1, 30 base, 1 minute all out, 90 seconds total. That is their round 1 on the floor. And they're going to start with body weight fast feet. Okay, so feet shoulder width apart, and they're just pop, right? And then you're going to alternate between 2 different movements, or actually, you're going to alternate between 3 different cues. Fast feet, which is what they start with, and then either up or down. Up, they'll go right to the bench and do body weight alternating step-ups. Down, they drop to the floor and do push-ups, right? Or fast feet, they go back to fast feet, okay? Now, on the template, they recommend alternating, like, if they're at fast feet, you say up. The next thing you should say is fast feet, rather than go from up straight to down. But, maybe mix it up. Throw them a curveball. Go from push-ups straight to step-ups. From step-ups straight to push-ups. I like to make sure they're paying attention, and sometimes I'll be like fast feet and then fast feet. And see if they keep doing it or if they stop. Because a lot of times people zone out. Anyways, they'll do that for the first 90 seconds. When the treads walk, that's your heads up. Swipe the VVA, and now you go over the next 2 movements very quickly. Now it's side or forward. Side is going to be speed skaters. forward is going to be a broad jump to shuffle. So they jump and they come back. For this one, I would definitely use the bench if people are able to. So because they're doing the step ups, they'll turn and face their bench. So hopefully they're standing to like all on the same side. At my studio, I really try to tell people, hey, if you're looking in the mirror, go to the left side of your bench, do your movements there. Okay, so that way when you turn to your bench, we're all looking the same way. So if you're on the left side, start on the back end, jump to the front end of that bench, shuffle back, there's that. But when they go to the speed skaters, hey, face your bench and then jump from one end to the other, back and forth. As far as options here, with the broad jump to shuffle, they could do a big step forward, shuffle back, or even just do like squat to calf raise, right? Because the idea is working on that explosive forward high jump movement. So squat jumps would be a good alternative. And instead of speed skaters, go into alternating lateral lunges. And then the final round, they have all of them. So up, down, forward, side, fast feet. They're probably going to be very, very hurt in the brain after this, but it's good for them, right? Reactiveness is something that requires speed, which is required for power. So if people are slow, but they're also not powerful, well, here's something to work on. Okay, now looking at the 3G, same idea for the treads, 2 blocks. Block 1 is just 2 builds. We're going to see the second build, so the 5-minute and 30-second build, and then the third build, the 4-minute and 15-second build from the 2G. So 9 minutes and 45 seconds here, 90-second walk recovery, and then the second block, it's just all out and walk recovery, so there is no base. Okay, so 1 minute, 30 walk, 45, 30 walk, 30 all out. For the rower, it's a 20-stroke row for distance, still locked in at 20 to 24 strokes per minute. They'll rack their handle, rest. I would encourage them to wait for the water to stop, then look at their distance. Now try to beat that on the second and then on the third time. Okay, so they get 220, maybe they get 225, and then 230. Cool. Then they go into a 2-movement circuit for 1 set. They have alternating knee raises with torso rotation and bicep curl to tricep extension with the Y-bell. So goblet position, 1 knee up, rotate, other knee up, rotate the other way, and then with a hammer grip position, they'll curl, press overhead, and then tricep extension all the way back down. Then they go back to the rower for another 3 rounds, but now at 15 strokes. They'll hit the 2 Y-bell movements, and then the third row attempt will be for 10 strokes for 3 rounds, and then the Y-bell movement. After that, they row until time is called. Now on the weight floor, you have your 2 different load and explode circuits, just no rowing obviously, for the first just under 10 minutes, and then block 2 is that coach reactive drill, but of course everything is cut down on time since there is no base efforts. So still 1 minute for the fast feet up down, 30-second switch up to get them ready for fast feet side forward, 30-second recovery, and then the final 30 seconds is all of them fast feet up, down, forward, side. Okay, and then they are done, and hopefully they don't hate you after that. Anyways, there you go. There's Blaze. Coach it down.